So there's a story that I don't tell often, usually about once a year this time of year, that is my miracle of my near-death experience and a story of God's faithfulness. Now, to be fair, this is one of two times that I had a near-death experience, but that's a story for another day. This is a point in my life where everything changed my perspective literally overnight. So about 10 years ago, about a week before Christmas, I woke up at 3 a.m. because I could not breathe. What followed was a terrifying near death experience, a pulmonary embolism during my fifth pregnancy, and a miracle that only God could write. So, today I want to share this story with you, not to dramatize it, but to remind you that you are never unseen, never unheard, and never alone. And, friend, if you've ever wondered if God still does miracles today, this one's for you. So, about 10 years ago, when I was pregnant with my youngest child, I got sick right before Thanksgiving. It started like a cold, then they told me bronchitis, then they told me pneumonia, and then they told me pleurisy. I had been to the doctor 3 times and the ER twice, and I just kept getting worse. So the pain in my chest was so severe, it felt like something was tearing every time that I coughed. It was like a stabbing pain. And as most moms do, I pushed through. I believed what they were telling me, and I just kept going until I couldn't anymore. So, about a week and a half before Christmas at 3 a.m. ish, I woke up and I could not breathe. And I don't mean like gasping or taking little breaths, like I could not pull air into my lungs. Now, having 4 kids and my husband at home at the time, everyone was asleep, and in a moment of both panic and stubbornness, I had convinced myself that I would be better off just driving myself to the hospital. Now, looking back on that, I know that it was foolish. I just was in a moment of panic and decided to drive myself to the hospital. So it was about 4 miles or so to the hospital. As I was driving, I was fighting for every single breath. And I hit the stoplight that was probably 5 blocks from the hospital. And I remember looking up at the stoplight and praying the most desperate prayer of my life. I just prayed, God, it's you and me. I need you to get me there. That was it. And he did get me there. I don't remember. That's from the stoplight to pulling up to the hospital. Apparently, I had just pulled right up to the door. I didn't park. I had left the car running and managed to get myself into the hospital by the desk to check in. So there I was, a month and a half after being miserable and misdiagnosis and not being able to figure out what is going on. The doctors finally found it. It was a pulmonary embolism, or a blood clot in my left lung. And this was totally life-threatening for me and for my baby that was due in January. I really don't remember that much from that stoplight until being in the hospital room and the doctor looking at me and saying, if it had been 5 minutes later, you wouldn't be here and neither would your daughter. 5 minutes later, like 5 minutes later, and everything could have been different. But friend, God stepped into that 5 minutes and got me there and got me the help that I needed. So that year I ended up spending a week and a half at the hospital, and I got out just right before Christmas. I was home, I was weak, but I was alive. There was no baking, no presents, no decorations, no traveling to see family that year. We lived in a tiny 800 square foot apartment at that time, the 6 of us with baby number 5 on the way. And we had each other, and our family and friends had blessed us from afar, and we had everything that we needed. And I don't say lightly that that was the sweetest Christmas we have ever had, because I was alive, my husband had his wife, my kids had their mom, we had my baby, and God had carried me through a miracle. So that changes a person. I mean, I will never forget the look in that doctor's eyes when he told me that I almost didn't make it. And I'll never forget the way that God carried me through, despite everything going on around me. So as I reflect on the story again, as I do at least once a year, if not more than that, I came up with 3 key lessons that I believe that God taught me through this. God is faithful in every breath, even the most desperate ones. When I prayed at that stoplight, God heard me. He saved 2 lives that day. And he didn't need to do that. He would have still been faithful. But I can look back and see his hand through it all, and I don't want to forget his faithfulness. Lesson number 2, the small things become sacred when you almost lose them. Sitting on the couch with my kids, hugging my kids, breathing. Everything became sweeter after that, and I still thank him for the breath in my lungs. Lesson number 3, hard seasons actually sharpen your vision for what really matters. The gifts didn't matter, decorations didn't matter, our plans didn't matter. Instead, presence mattered, life mattered, and Jesus mattered. So friend, if you are in a hard season, hard physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, or financially, I want you to know this. You are not alone. You are not forgotten. You are not abandoned. God is near even when you don't feel him. And if you're a mama that needs more encouragement or tools or support in a hard season, then make sure to visit my site to access our freebies hub and download any free resources that will help you along your way. You are not alone. He is with you. I'll be praying for you.